do one last time?
Hey,
have we done one before? Because why through Zoom?
Let's we can check on Google later.
I think we have.
We podcasted.
Or maybe it was like a webinar.
We've definitely been on a lot of webinars together. We've started. So, tell us about Body by Brando.
All right. Where do we start?
Pecs, tries, buys, traps.
This is a bodybuilding gym in Paddington.
Break it down, baby.
What do you want to start? Do you want to start from the start?
Wherever you want to start. We're out now. Like, what's exciting about Body by Brando now? I think a lot of people who tune in this are going to sort of seeing a bit of your journey.
Yeah.
And they're probably seeing that you're going really hard at the moment.
Yeah, aggressive. Where we're at now. So now we've got the gym in Paddington, which is cranking. Like, it's really good this time of year too. We haven't really lost any members. So we've sort of normally you see the waves through summer, winter.
Yeah.
But this year we've stayed the same and we're still getting members. So we're getting probably 10 a month at the moment. It's staying consistent around the 130 members, which is our capacity. So good news going forward. And it's just about now seeing if we can get a really good crew together and hopefully we'll start either expanding or seeing what's next. But that's where we're at now.
Yeah. And you've probably been thinking about what's next for a while, hey?
Yeah. Well, we did. We tried to go, I've said this before, we tried to go number 2 a while back. We opened up Artarmon.
Yeah.
And it just failed miserably. So I think that's holding me back.
We're in Sydney.
Yeah. Yeah, good.
If you just heard someone honking their horn, it's just because Sydney people are
they're just impatient.
They're just not happy with the traffic situation, etc. So yeah, talk us through I guess sometimes the challenging experiences are the ones that are valuable to share. Or what did you learn in that mission of opening a second facility? I guess you got a good deal or something, and it just was well, let's give this a shot. Or how did that sort of start? Yeah,
we did. That's exactly how it went. And I wrote a post the other day saying fail forward sort of thing, and I learned that from someone's pretty standard quote, to be honest.
I've heard it. Heard it before. I
sort of came up with it myself. But
you just put Brando Hasick underneath. Quotation marks, and it's yours.
Yeah, fail forward.
Brando Hasick, bang.
It was just really hit me the other day when we were thinking about going for a number 2 again, or number 3, I suppose. But what happened was, we'll crank in. We had 100 members at Paddington. We had me and a couple of coaches, and we're like, fuck, how good is this? We just opened, we're a year in. How easy is this? We'll just do another one. And I was like, yeah, cool. And that sort of came into we started thinking that at the peak time.
Yep.
And then by the time the ball started rolling, it was February, March, and then we got a good deal over the Artarmon.
Yep.
And for me, I was like, it's halfway between where I grew up and the city, which it's not really, but that's the story I told myself. And I was like, cool. So people from home might want to then come to the gym because it's closer for them. And I was like, I'll just open up a second one. But the way it sort of rumbled out was we didn't have enough coaches, so we only had me and 2 other coaches, Dan Marburg.
Yeah.
And
was Tim on at that time? Or was
Tim wasn't there yet. It was before Tim.
Might touch on your coaches because I reckon you've had some awesome coaches, and that's probably a big part of your journey with owning a gym as well, right? Dealing with coaches and that's the biggest part now is dealing with coaches and trying to get them to sort of follow the systems. They might be a really good coach, but then following your system, you've got a product, so you can't just sort of have 6 really good coaches doing their own thing. It's still got to be a brand. Yeah.
So that's been a big challenge for us since starting. But
what
do we do? We opened up, and then we did a big offer to start with. We had 16 or 20 people take it on, and it was a discount rate. So we're sort of breaking even from day one.
Yeah.
But then it sort of got quite cold. It was July, August, and I think we dropped down to 8 members, and we're running 2 classes in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Was paying the coaches, paying rent, paying all the equipment off, and then I was just losing heaps of money, and I didn't have the time because I was still coaching at Paddington, trying to keep that afloat because that sort of went downhill as well. I was like,
put a lot of pressure on that facility too.
Yeah, it did. It put heaps of pressure on Paddington. So I think we dropped down to 80 at Paddington, and we had 6 or 8 at Artarmon. So the finances weren't looking too good, and we lost a fair bit of money doing that, and put pressure on the coaches too because I was obviously I was upset at myself, and it probably I was expecting that they might have helped out more, but I couldn't really expect them to because they didn't have the knowledge to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I think that put a bit of pressure on them. We did get another good coach in too, Tex, who I had a good chat with last week actually, still around the traps.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much how it laid out. And then because we were on a second level, the barbells dropping and there was a business underneath us caused a bit of dramas, but it actually ended up saving us because they used that against the real estate and said that they hadn't, they said it was all going to be fine. And then we walked in there and now we can't run our business properly. It was just me that couldn't run a business properly, but it was.
Don't send this to the real estate agent.
If anyone knows our time in real estate, don't send it to them. But yeah, we ended up having to break the lease, which was like, 8 or 10 grand or something. We lost our bond, and then all the equipment that we bought was like 70 grand.
Does it still bring a tear to the eye? Or
it's not really, like we're cruising now. So it's just
I lost bond on a gym too, on a shitty gym deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, Byron CrossFit.
It's cranking now.
It doesn't bring a tear to the eye. Yeah, they've moved and they're out the back of somewhere. I don't know. I don't really follow what's. It's the second new set of owners since then.
Dave's in it now.
Yeah, Dave Driscoll from over there in Bali Wanderlust, yeah.
I was literally thinking, because I went up to Byron when I saw you.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, me and Asher dropped into the actual town, and I was thinking, how could it be to maybe buy into Byron?
That's the conversation we had, and then like,
oh yeah, we did. And then the next day I was like, Dave Driscoll bought Wanderlust. And I was like, fuck. Pretty fucking stamp everywhere.
It's kind of thing that happens though, isn't it? When you have like an epic idea and if you don't kind of go with it, that's the double edge, isn't it? Because you have this epic idea and you're like, I need to move on this, or someone else is going to do it, or the opportunity will be lost, or, I'll just forget about it. And the other side of the equation is, do I just jump on this, invest, tons of money, like in a Tarman or, whatever, and then it just blows up in your face and you're like, yeah, maybe I didn't think that through quite as much as I should have. But if you were the defensive player, you never would have had you never would have had your gym on your front porch.
Yeah, true.
And then you never would have had, you never would have jumped into that lease there at the old White City tennis courts. That's where it is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No, that's it. So it's like, as much as, and I've had like the real you, like I started a gym franchise and it lasted like 15 minutes and I lost a bunch of money and a couple of people still dirty on me about, how it went. Not too many, fortunately, but, if I hadn't been the kind of person that would do that, I wouldn't have been the kind of person to leave the NRL and start Real Movement. I would have never, it's the same mentality. So you can't have it both ways I'm a defensive player and I weigh up all my decisions and, I'm only going to play when it's 100%. Versus, you can't have it both ways of not taking any risk at the same time expecting.
Got to go through a few rocks to get a diamond, don't you?
Well, you don't know which ones, you can't really know which ones are the best decisions, but you got to be making decisions. You got to be, I think, backing yourself. And how old are you now, anyway?
26.
PJ Lane's 26 as well.
Yeah.
You see that love post I did for him?
He's huge.
Not for it, but I don't know. He hasn't written anything. He hasn't replied to me or sent me anything. So it might be like, take that down.
You're on this of these arms? No.
Yeah. No, Paddy's a legend. Like it's so good. It's always good catching up with him. And like his story is a special one. He's a special human. Like just going to his wedding and stuff. It's just like, this guy's epic. Like he's just heart and soul. Yeah, heart and soul, and just puts in everything he does. And he's 26 as well. He's coaching the team to an NRL premiership. Like you're 26 and you're building this empire. You've had to go at so many different things. Like when I was 26, I was in Mexico, just thinking, maybe in Ecuador teaching English for like $5 an hour, and just thinking, I think it was $3 an hour US. So yeah, maybe 450 Aussie. Like it's not too bad when you do the conversion rate. But yeah, like they were like, and come like I was thinking about last night. And I was thinking like when I was there, they'll just put me on more and more hours, and they were like put me on all their, like they took out a TV ad, and they were like, poster boy. I was a poster boy because I was like this white dude who was hanging out in this town where no one really wants to hang out that much. Like it's on the coast, it was all right, but I was just sort of thinking about like, they really like they kind of got their pound of flesh there, and I think their business like actually really boomed. Like the guy bought himself this flash new car. I think, come to think of it, I probably paid for that because the business is like tripled, and then I think it like slumped a little bit after that too.
Charging you out at $10.50.
So his car got impounded when he was at. It was like 8, 10, 12 students in a class. The numbers kept getting bigger. So like he was probably, it's kind of like the gym model, I guess. You pay your coach and then take the rest kind of thing. But his car got impounded in Colombia. Really? He drove it to Colombia and like went visiting, and it's like oh, your papers aren't right, we're keeping your car. Torture. Yeah, it's but yeah, like that's thinking about where I was at that time in my life compared to where you're at in this time in your life. Like, is business stealing your youth? Like, do you wish
that's
you were
what I was just about to say.
You're a kid again, or like, what do you?
Yeah, and I feel like that because I'm like, that sounds to me so appealing because I'm like, I can't just leave now and I can't just do a 6-month trip. Well, I can.
You know someone who's doing that at the moment?
Yeah, Richie Pike.
He was like, he was your brother that, you know, you guys were all kind of starting at the same time, Benny Thompson.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just sold up and just hit the road and
yeah.
He wasn't even going to Africa. Now he's like,
he's in Africa. He's in Kenya.
Yeah. But he was going to Borneo, Indonesia, and then India. That was the plan. And then all of a sudden he's in Kenya and he's just
loves it too.
Pulling up stumps. Yeah, I was chatting with him last night.
That's sick.
He's a deep thinker.
He really is.
He gets me thinking all the time. We're going back and forth on philosophy.
Because he's done all that stuff with Alice.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, that stuff.
100%. Yeah, it's all in the mind. Like, this mind's such a deep part of it. You're having these conversations right now. Like, people want you to mentor them because they're like, well, I want what he's got.
Yeah.
So they're sending you a message. You know, how do I get what you've got? And they're engaging you with that. When you have those conversations, like, whoa, what is it that you're looking for? Like, who can you tell the ones that are going to do it and the ones that aren't? Are you starting to get a feel for now working with all these different coaches in your staff and now these gyms wanting, you know, support from you?
100%. You can tell because, the ones that want all the support are the ones that, you know, that aren't really going to go anywhere because they just want to palm their problems off. And it's just like, the same when you get like we were just saying, a shitty PT client that just wants to come in and throw their cash at you and hope that they drop 30 kilos of fat. And it's like, you've done that before. I know you have, and it's not going to change this time. Like, I'm going to do my best, obviously, but I think there's a bit of internal motivation that needs to change.
The solution isn't to turn them away because you know they're going to be a trouble client, really. Like, the solution, you almost got to back them to make a change.
Yeah.
Even if you can tell coming in that they're not necessarily going to be an easy one.
Yeah, you're still going to, because I mean, you're better off.
You do turn those people around sometimes as well, right? Like,
yeah, you do, definitely. We did a good one up until last year, like when Tim was with us. So he took on this lady who lost about 20 kilos.
Shout out to Tim Butler, Lime in Canberra, is it?
Sublime?
I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
One of the chains down there.
Yeah, I think he's killing it. So well.
Strong dude.
Yeah,
smart guy.
Yeah. Strong and smart. Where were we? Yeah, the
trouble clients and turning people around. You were going to tell a story about someone.
Yeah, so she did. And then she lost about 20 kilos, came to Bali with us and did the whole thing. And then she's probably not listening right now, but I'm not going to say her name anyway. But ended up flipping the switch and just went full back into the old routine. And like, I think she had a little bit of mental issues, which I mean, most people do these days, but you know, self-included, but enough of that one. But yeah, like she was on such a good path and then it just sort of flipped real quick. So, I mean, not to say that she can't turn around again, but I think every time you fail a client, you're adding that extra stone on their back to make it harder to turn around.
They say that people come into gyms like yours, like these sort of community-based gyms that don't really have big branding. You're not one of these, you know, $7 a week, or they say people have generally failed in their fitness journey like 15 times, or they've moved towards something and they didn't get there like 15 times. Would that be?
Yeah, you probably, yeah. I mean, our guys...
Like they have a real crack and then they, you know, fall off, and they have a real crack and they fall off. They get a PT and then they get a membership and then they try a 45 and they try CrossFit and they try this, try that.
We're usually like one of the last.
You're the last. Yeah. Do you feel bad about that or what?
No, I like it. I just flip the switch and make it a badge of honor. I'm like, yeah, people come to us when they want to really get results. We've already been through.
In some ways, it's good though, right? Like if they've had pain, then you know, like even you going through that pain of our time and such a better position to run your gym well, to set up the next one. If someone comes to you and they're in pain with their gym, you're not just like, well, you know, I've always had 100 members. Like, you know, like, like Paddington's pretty much always been pretty sweet, hey? Or
that's what I mean. Sometimes I feel less like it's lucky to have had our time and fail, because otherwise I would feel like a bit of a fraud. Be like, I don't know how to reverse engineer what we did to make someone else's gym go the way it did. Like, I don't think some of it I wouldn't be confident in being like, yeah, you just got to do this one thing and then it's your gym's going to turn around. I think people are looking for that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like obviously the culture that we built from day one. It's like the systems that we've built.
Yeah.
You know, just
what is the one thing though? What is the one thing that it takes to
run a gym?
Build a 7-figure
This should be a headline for the
business
podcast.
Yeah. The one thing. And it'll go viral. We'll be like the most hits ever. It'll be
like marketing.
It'll be like 65 people listening to think.
Yeah.
Or 12. We'll double our audience overnight.
Double.
Don't feel like you're wasting your time, man. Someone will listen to this.
Nah,
if you're listening to this and you get something out of it, then drop Brando a line. Just say he doesn't feel like he's wasting his time. He'll probably send me an invoice.
Yeah. $350 an hour for business coaching.
Come on, man.
No, I've been listening to a lot of Ben Bergeron and stuff like that because he's obviously got his head switched on.
Brandon's just tapping on the table for anyone who's listening to the podcast. It's a podcast blow up tip for those running audio podcasts. Just make all kinds of weird background noises and your audience doubles.
Yeah.
If you're watching the YouTube, then you kind of know what he's doing. But
anyway. Good chat, Bergeron. And the one I'm listening to now is about culture.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how he sort of went from one gym to then he's opening up a couple of others now, which is still the journey I want to take. And that's why I'm taking the backseat of the mentoring and business coaching is because I still want to do – I want mine. I think I can make a bigger impact running more BBBs as opposed to helping other smaller gyms get a few more members. Like it's not really what I'm going to be passionate about. So I want to open a few more BBBs and have a sick sort of little – wouldn't need to be franchise. I think I'll just run them all and have some good managers come in and create like a coaches development program where I know that the standard of my coaches are really good.
Yeah.
And then we can help people that way.
BBB.
BBB.
You say it so fast, man. You've said that so many times.
Yeah, BBB. Well, I can't say, Body by Brando is like a long.
Yeah. I've got a B&B. Maybe I can join your thing. Bed and breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah, you just said the farm.
Yeah. Well, technically, the sign's still up on the street. We do get some people from
Do they jump in?
Airbnb. Yeah, we get a few people. Some funny stories there. But that's probably for another podcast. Yeah. Bergeron, like massive on culture. Hey, like it's like his training system is culture too. Like, have you read Chasing
Excellence?
Chasing Excellence. Yeah, I was gonna say Chasing Gains, but it's Chasing Excellence is a bit less cheesy, or I don't know, maybe more cheesy, but
yeah.
Anyway, it's like he's. Have you read it?
Nah, I'm really good at buying
culture. Yeah, look, on the way down, impulse buyers.
Yeah, I just buy books daily and just put them on my shelf.
It makes you smart, makes you look smarter.
Yeah, you read the blurb, read the front cover, and you sort of get used to it.
Well, Ty Lopez is probably a billionaire out of that.
The mentor box.
Well, that stuff, but he's got like high-end mentorships and stuff. Nash Singh was doing one of them, one of the guys who did some real movement stuff for a while, friends with Nathan Gould, trainer out in West Sydney, bodybuilder, natural bodybuilder, massive, huge. Yeah, like so a lot of what he started with, Ty Lopez's message was like book a day, and then he had the 67 steps, which I listened to about 50 of, which I think is a pretty big effort. They're like an hour each.
Oh, right.
And it's like kind of him just spinning the shit on a different topic each time. But he references a lot of people. He's quite an entertaining speaker. And yeah, like that's kind of his thing is like read a book a day, read 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes in the evening, different topic each time. So like self-development, I don't know what the other one is, and then like fiction in the evening kind of thing. So you always kind of have 3 books going. But he's also like, books aren't necessarily meant to be read cover to cover. Like if you pick up 2 or 3 ideas out of it, like it's a win. Like if you get like, you know, that people can buy your time for $350 an hour, or they can, you know, get a book for $10. And if they get an idea out of that book in 10 minutes, like it's, you know,
what's the point? Yeah.
It's a big win, you know what I mean? Like that's, so basically what he's saying, I'm not underselling you, but he's like spinning a lot of ideas in his head all the time, like trying to get the ideas of like the best people of our time and of previous times. And he's just constantly putting those ideas in his head. And it's not like, it doesn't have to be about going cover to cover. It can be just that you've got all these really cool ideas or philosophies of things that are kind of spinning in your brain. That kind of helps you to stay creative. And
I used to do that at uni and school. I was always like,
10 minutes per book.
Yeah, 10 minutes per class. That's my theory. I'd stay active.
Were you good at school?
Yeah, like I got pretty good grades, but I wasn't bad or anything. But
did you get kicked out much?
I used to sleep all the time at school. Like every class, I'd sleep, and they didn't know what was wrong with me.
Is it diet related?
Maybe
narcolepsy, is it?
Narcolepsy. No, I'll be like, this is boring, so I'd just fall asleep, and then But they couldn't say anything because I was getting like good grades. And he's like, I know you get good grades, but you can't just fall asleep like that in class because it looks bad to all the other kids who aren't getting good grades.
Make me look bad, man.
Yeah, you make me look bad. Like, am I boring? I'm like, no, man, I'll just probably stayed up watching TV or something.
That's like,
and then uni.
It's probably a typical thing of people who should be entrepreneurs. Hey, what's your? Show me your hand like this. Yeah, other one. Yeah, born entrepreneur. See, you know that thing?
Yeah, I remember you doing something about that.
Like your fourth digits are way longer than your second.
Oh, they must.
Yeah, when you hold if you hold it right. Especially the right hand's meant to be the key one, and your right one, like this is a midget. This one's, monster. So that means you're like born to be an entrepreneur.
Is that just like a reverse study? So like
they correlate it. So the correlation that was really interesting was that females who have the hand like that are just as likely to be successful in running their business as a male, but most females don't have hands like that because it's to do with testosterone exposure in the womb. So if a woman gets exposed to more testosterone in the womb, they're more likely to have that hand. And then as a result of that hand, like they're just as likely to succeed as men who have fingers like that.
Is it more of a causation study, or a correlation study?
Yeah, I guess they're looking at women who are successful in business. They're looking at their hands and then just doing the numbers. It was like somewhere, I think it was in South Italy or something. It's an interesting study. That's
cool.
Yeah, I mean,
same as
I've done it on heaps of people too. And people who I think really stink at running their own thing, who should just go and get a job. Yeah, bro.
Shows the answer.
It's written in the wind.
Get out of here. Sample size 8.
No, well, that's why I did it across the whole real movement community and that as well. Like heaps of people placed their hands. Remember that thing was like one of the most popular posts that I ever did in the membership group. There was like 200 hands in there.
It's like when what do they do in like AFL? Like if you're 17 and you're not 6'3" by now, like it's like, sorry, see you later.
Well, we're talking about yesterday, Ruben Ruzica, the speed coach now at the Roosters, was saying a massive percentage of the people who've run under 10 seconds can be traced back to a certain spot in Jamaica, which was a certain spot where slaves have been taken from in Africa. It's like they're tracing the lineage, and there's only like 3 people or something that aren't from that lineage that have run under 10, or 5 or something like that. Like he wasn't that clear on the numbers. If you know the numbers in the studies, send me the link so I can be accurate with this. But so basically, there's a genetic component to what we do. I'm a massive believer in environment shaping people and, putting the right situations around you to get the most out of yourself and all that sort of stuff. But some of the changes are generational. Like if you really want to be an entrepreneur, but you're not really cut out for it, it may take generations of striving before your ancestors they might turn into it. I'm reading a samurai book at the moment as well, and it's all about your bloodlines and the heritage and doing your ancestors proud and this sort of thing. And
it's funny that because I almost feel like it, just on my own experience, skipping, because my granddad was a good entrepreneur and he sort of sold out of his business when he was
it's a bit of a cheesy word as well. Please don't everyone's when you put entrepreneur on your social media,
you never call
you've got 1,000 followers. And, entrepreneur.
I met someone once and he's like, "Hey, how you going?" I said, "Oh, what do you do?"
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's what he did. He's like, "Oh, I'm Brando. That's my gym." And he's like, "I was like, what's your name?" He's like, "Entrepreneur." And he goes, "Oh, I'm an entrepreneur." I was like, "I don't know if that's a job title, bro." I was like, "You can't just call yourself." I think people call you an entrepreneur. Isn't that how it works?
I don't know what the rules are, but it definitely seems to me like it's being thrown around a little bit. Steve, if you listen to this,
you're a wanker. Go get a job. You got small fingers.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, we got off topic. But yeah, because then obviously I think based on what your parents do, maybe you can either follow them. I don't know if there's a study in this, but you'd either follow them and sort of go down the same path, or sometimes you want to do the exact opposite because you've seen what they've been through and you try and reverse it. And that's what sort of some things that my parents do that I'm like, nah, I don't want to see that happen. And other things I'm like, I really like those qualities and I follow those qualities. So you sort of, depending on who you are, I think you pick and choose what qualities you want out of that bloodline.
What other qualities you want?
Oh, but my parents are super caring and stuff. I wish I was more like them and that. I don't really care about too much. I'm super, I just want sort of success. I don't even know how to measure that, but it's the other side of me probably doesn't care as much as I should about some things, like about, you know, people always talk about having balance between like family life and wanting to hang around people. I'm just always super switched on, and I don't switch off and just enjoy the present and people enough, I don't think. So that's something I definitely wish I could get from them, because they're super like that.
Yeah.
But it's probably because the other side, like, they're not as driven. So maybe that's why I've gone super the opposite way and want to go, like, just measure everything with success.
What was your grandparents' success that your grandfather, the entrepreneur?
Yeah, Gramps, we call him. He was in the textile business. So he had a company called Hasick, like Hasick Technologies.
The Real Tech, eh?
Yeah, the Real Tech. Just living in his shadow. Yeah, he was like, textures and trading between here and China and stuff like that. So he got quite successful with that, and he's just cruising now, plays golf. And
would have been interesting trading with China in those times.
Yeah.
Did he go over there and stuff? Or?
Well, he was actually born in China, which was kind of weird. He had a Russian dad and then was born in China and then ended up staying there for a bit, then moved to England. He's like white as, but he was just born there, so he's Chinese effectively.
Yep.
So I'll put that in my passport now. I'm Chinese too.
Can you get a Chinese passport?
I don't know. Yeah. Probably not.
No. I don't know. I don't think that'd be the most coveted one.
Nah, North Korea.
Jim Rohn makes jokes about it, like people aren't lining up to get, you know, it's put shit on any country that you name right now, but like, you know, Gambian passports are not in demand. You know, like people are not trying to get a passport to Burma or Bangladesh, or, you know, people want Australian passports, people want American passports, people want European citizenship. And I think that's something that a lot of people in these countries take for granted, that there is so much opportunity and the minimum standard in terms of wages and stuff like that. Speaking with Jake Friend yesterday about the coffee shops and stuff that he runs, like, I'm only paying people $25 an hour. And I'm like, bro, like, if you're making over 40 grand a year, like, you're in the richest 1% of people on earth. People are earning $25 an hour pulling coffees. Like, they, you know, if they really knew the context of the world at the moment, like, it's actually big money if you're pulling coffees, and if you can just live with some discipline. Like, I know it's difficult in the eastern suburbs, it's difficult in the culture we're in, where we just spend. But like, in reality, like, you have infinite wealth almost at that point, like, compared to our ancestors who had to live so simply because of just, you know, like the circumstance stuff. Like, so much opportunity for anyone right now who can get their stuff together, like, whether it is working for other people and like living simply, or whether you do want to run your own thing, like, such a time of opportunity. I think, like, it's crazy to be, you know, all the mental health and depression and, you know, like, that stuff in this time, and obesity as well. Like, it's like you're throwing away this golden ticket. Like, so much opportunity at this time, and so much chance, you know, to be healthy.